Okay, welcome to InRoads Survey XM edition. This is an introduction class, and let's go ahead and begin. Um, well, my name is Jeff Hannon. I work here in Huntsville, Alabama, and I'm in the certification group. So the first thing I'm going to do today is set my screen up like I have it on my desk for InRoads. Then I'm going to go through a few new buttons and toggles that we've added to XM. And then we're going to go right into the importing survey data. I'm going to import 2 or 3 different types of data. Then we're going to edit survey data using the survey codes. Then we're going to adjust data. I'm going to do 3 different adjustments, and hopefully that is what you would normally do if you used InRoads Survey. Okay, I'm going to go right into the product now. And so the first thing I do when I go into InRoads is I set up my locks toolbar. So I go to Tools, Locks, and I click on the toolbar. As you see, we get this toolbar right here, and this has feature filter lock, feature highlights lock off, and you can see as you go down here the pop-ups come up and you can read what they are. The next thing I do is I go to Tools, Customize, and I turn on View Survey Data. This is a toolbar that shows all the toggles for View Survey Data. All of these planimetrics, symbols, names, codes, elevation, errors, notes, networks, they're all on this toolbar. And as you work with InRoads Survey, you'll notice that we can get a toolbar for all of these different commands. Pretty much all of them have toolbars. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is bring in a couple different types of survey data, and we're going to just import the data into the field book and then write it to graphics, just to show you how simple it is to use InRoads Survey if your data is correct and you want to go ahead and just start working with it. So I'm going to go to File, Open, and my data, I'm going to bring in some TopCon data first. So I need my XIN file for that data. And then to bring my actual data in, I go to File, Import, Survey Data. Go to my TopCon icon, and then if you need to go to Files of Type, and you got to look for TopCon. And we can use any of this data, and but this is what I'm going to do is TopCon. So I pick the TopCon, and then as you see, my test FC4 file comes in. At this point, you can click Options and change any of your any of these tabs with unit, symbology, corrections, observations. You can change any of that. Mostly what you change is units. I'm going to leave this at meters, and you also notice that I have meters and degrees, minutes, seconds. So if this linear units isn't correct, you can change it right here. Now this option can be found in the product too, and I'll show you that in just a second. So let's go to highlight the file, and you click Import, and then you click Close. Okay, this dialog box shows you any errors, and you can correct them at this point, or you cannot. I'm going to ignore all, and it brings all the data in with the errors, and you can look at the errors later. Okay, now, like I said, I'm just going to write this to graphics so we can see it. So all I do now is go to Survey, View Survey Data, Write Survey Data Graphics. When this dialog box comes up, I'm going to select all, then I'm going to hit Apply. And there. I took my raw file from the field, I brought it into Survey, and now it's written right to the DGN file. So I can snap to any of these points, and let's go ahead and turn off my planimetrics. And this is the data that was in that file. So that's all I wanted to do with that file. Now I'm going to bring in a different type of file, and so what I'm going to do now is delete the information in the field book. So here's the field book. You can see all this data. I'm going to go to Survey, delete survey data, and notice that it's already checked when you go into the dialog box. I don't have to do anything except click on delete. Say yes, and then I don't want to save any changes, so I click no. Okay, now I'm back to where I started from. I'm going to go ahead and delete this data. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is bring in a different type of data. I'm going to go to File, Import, Survey Data. We're going to go to where my data is. I'm going to bring in some Sakia files. I've got to find my files, and we can use any of these different types of files, but I'm going to pick Sakia. So I'm going to pick this first one, hold my Shift key down, and pick the last one. And you can bring all these files in at one time. So I'll click Import here. As you notice, it's meters and degrees, minutes, seconds. That's what I want. Import, close, just like before, and then ignore all. Okay, now I'm going to go into my field book, and go to Survey, Field Book, and as you see, here is the first file that I picked, and as you go down, here's the second file, and so on down into the field book. Now let's see if we can view that data. I'm going to go to Survey, Fit View, and I don't see anything on my screen. So let's go to Survey, View Survey Data Names. Oh, there's some data. But what I want to look at in this file is the network. To see the network, you have to turn on those lines. So I need to go to Survey, Network Symbology, turn on Line Traverse, and I'm going to go ahead in this directional arrow box, turn the display on. And these are directional arrows that show you the direction that you surveyed that file in. So it tells you where the point you started and a directional arrow towards the next point. So I'm going to put 20 in here and 20 in for the angle. That's the angle of the arrow. Hit Apply and close. Well, I still don't see my lines for my traverse. So something else is wrong. I need to go to Survey, View Survey Data, and you'll see a network toggle. So click on the network toggle, and there's my traverse. Okay, let's go in and look at some of this data, see what we got right here in this corner. And here's one of my directional arrows that I just created. So let me zoom out just a little bit. So they went to a point down on this end of this line and they surveyed this point, and then when they got to point number 7, they turned this angle and went down to this next point. Zoom out a little bit more. Point number 4, I guess. So anyway, that's all I want to show you. Now let's go ahead and write this data to graphics. So Survey, View Survey Data, Write Survey to Graphics. Click Select All, and click Apply. Now I just wrote that data to graphics. Now I'm going to turn off the planimetrics that we were showing a second ago. And turn off my network lines. And as you see, I just wrote that survey to my DGN file. So all these lines are active now, all the text is active, and and I can do whatever I want with that survey. So what I'm going to do now is delete this data. What I'm doing is deleting the information that was in the survey field book. So book 3 is checked, so I hit delete, click yes, save changes no, and then I need to delete the information in my DGN file and delete that. So that was 2 different types of data I brought in. This actual field data, and then I brought it in my field book. I wrote it to graphics, and it's as simple as that. So what I want to do now is bring in another file, and this is the data that we're going to be working with. So it's a RW5 file. So what I'm going to do is go to File, Import, Survey Data, and this is a RW5 file. So I need to pick my file to type here, and here's TDS RW5. Then I go to the directory that my information is in, import, close. I'm in meters and degrees, minutes, seconds, and then I have a resolve code error comes in, and I do want to fix this one. So to fix this error, looks like the ST is STT. So I want to make it just one T. So this is the error, and I want to change it to BC space ST. So I just click into this box, hit my backspace, then hit retry. Okay, and all my information comes in. Now what I want to do is go to Survey, Field Book, and as you see, all the data is here that I want to look at today. Now I can go to this icon, Find Replace Codes, and if you have any question about any errors, you can just hit Next Error, and those errors will show up, or it'll tell you no errors exist in the field book. What this means is that you don't have any code errors. Okay, so I'm going to close out of this, and if you have a code that doesn't exist in the field book, it will be red. So let's change this one right here, edit this, we'll call it DD, and then hit apply, and close, and see DD is red. So anywhere where there was a DD in the file, you'll see that it's red. That means it's not part of the XIN file that we're using to look at this information. No, I can add it, but anyway, so I'm going to edit this, call it CP, hit apply, close out of there, and see now you can see that it's a control point, and that is in my XIN file, and it's fixed and it's been edited. Let's talk about this this little bar here, this status right here. That's very important to watch, because I just edited that point, and now it shows that it's edited because it's got an E next to it. The F means that it's affixed. So the other codes are the point has notes. You would have an N there if the point's had notes. E, of course, is the point's been edited. F is the point is a keyed in fixed coordinate. A, the point has attributes. If there's a V there, at least one of the attributes has a value. If there's an I, it's in an inserted point, and if there's a C, it's an adjusted point. And later on in this presentation, we're going to show adjusted point, and then we're going to go back and look at this status, and you'll see a C next to those points. Some other things that we can look at, let's say Okay, this is our stations box, and this is our observations box. So a station is where you set up to backsite and then foresight on these points down in this box. So let's just look at one of these stations. This point number 6, obviously this is a point that I set the instrument on, and it's a traverse point. And my backsite is 152.3806. My instrument height is 4.92, and I'm foresighting. So I'm set up on 6, I'm backsighting 2, and I'm foresighting all of these points. So let's look at these observations now. The point name is 252. The code is CLRR, and it's black. See how it's black? That means it's part of my XIN file. There is no status on it. It's just a shot point that hasn't been corrected, or nothing's been done with it. And in the field, they shot this. This is the horizontal observation from the field, the vertical observation, and the slope distance. And this is the target height. So I'm set up on 6. I'm backsighting 2. My instrument height is 4.92. My rod height is 5.75, and it's all right here in the field book. And so what I think I'm going to do now is add a couple points. So let's go down to this point number 3, and we're going to look at some different options by right-clicking in on these points. So for my observation, I can right-click and I can add after. What this is for adding a point that's not, that you didn't survey. Let's say you left one off. So let's just go down here, and I'm just going to add a few points in here. Right-click, add after, and it says 725. That's just the next point that I'm telling it to go to, and that's a point that has not been used. If I click on this type, it's fixed. Okay, computed. What this is going to be a fixed point because I'm just going to place it in there. And I can pick on this toggle, and I can put this point anywhere I want to. Let's say right there. I can add my elevation, let's say 250, and then I can add notes or codes and hit apply, and then close this out. And let's turn on my point numbers, and I can do it either by going to Survey, View Survey Data Names, or I can just click on this toolbar that we brought up, View Names. I'm going to do that, and there's point number 725. So let's go ahead and add a few. I'm going to window area on this point, and we're just going to add a few points just to show you how easy it is to add points. Right here, right-click and click Add After. And notice my point number 726. I didn't enter that in. It automatically knew that was the next point, so that so I could put it in. And then so I'm going to just click on this button here, click my screen. 250 is the elevation that I want to use. Hit apply, and there it is. Close this. The next point's already in there, 727. So all I got to do now is click here, click on my screen. You notice the elevation is 0. That's because the point on my screen that I clicked is 0. If I had set my my screen elevation to 250, it would have put a 250 in there. So I'm going to put 250, click apply, and then close, and you can see how easy it is to add points. So I'm going to get out of this, and those are the 3 files I wanted to write to graphics. So let's go ahead and write this one to graphics. Go to Survey, Fit View, and that's all my data. And then Survey, View Survey Data, write Survey Data to graphics. These are all temporary graphics. I'm going to make them graphics, points that I can snap to in and click Apply or Select All. Oh, that's right, I can just do those. Then Close, and I'm going to turn off my planimetrics, which are temporary graphics. Turn off the names, and as you can see, all this data is written to my survey. Okay, so let's go ahead and delete this file. And I've set up a file. Well, let's go ahead and save this file. I'll show you how to do that. Let me go here, unselect those. So before I delete my file, I'm going to go ahead and do a File, Save As, and I can call this whatever I want. I want to pick my survey data, and it's book 4. My name is Jeff, so I'm going to call it Jeff. And I'm going to click Save, and I just saved that data that I added, including those 2 points, and in a file that I can use later. Okay, so now I'm going to delete these. Survey, delete survey data, and then Jeff's already highlighted. I don't have to do anything there. And just click Delete. Delete book Jeff, yes. And I want to delete everything off my screen. So we'll pick this information, click Delete, and now I'm ready to start with a new data set. Now what I've done is I created a file just like I showed you, adding those points that that we can use for the next part of our next part of this little lecture. So I'm going to go back to my PowerPoint. So what we've done is we've looked at the survey data, we've looked at the actual field book, we kind of set up our screen, we imported different types of survey data, we showed you some import the dialog options, and then we viewed the survey data in the field book, we wrote the survey data to graphics, and there's a few more things I wanted to mention. And this identifying new functionality in InRoads. Let's go ahead and look at that now, and just to get it out of the way. So I'm going to go back to my file, and we have a list of things that we just added, little toggles and little buttons that we added to InRoads XM that are new. I just want to show you these few things. Okay, so the first one is you go to Tools, you go to Style Manager, and this is your XIN file. I'm going to click on this Include Survey, and that filters out this XIN file so you only see the survey data. Okay, and these are this is my survey data, and these are the survey codes that I have in this XIN file. So so what I want to do is just go into one, back a curve, and I'll go into Edit. I'm just going to show you one little box and a little feature they added to survey. Here's my back a curve, that's the name of my feature, and here's the survey feature. My code is back a curve. This is my survey code that's in this box. And under attributes, if you had attributes in here, you could edit them with this button here. You used to be able to just add and delete, but now you can edit. Okay, so I'm going to get out of this. That's all I wanted to show you there. And go to Survey Field Book. Oh, I need to open my field book. So let's go ahead and open the field book that I'm going to be using today. File, Open, and I'm going to go to where my field book is. Book 4. Open that. Cancel. And this is the data that we're going to be using for the next part of our presentation. But back to some things that have changed. In the field book, you can move this window up and down now. That's a new thing. You couldn't do that before. And then the same thing in the network box, which we'll be looking at in a minute. You can move this up and down, making these windows larger and smaller if you need to. You do that. And then another new thing for XM in Survey Field Book, if you right-click on this top bar right here where it says point name, northing, and easting, you'll notice that they've added notes and attributes. So this is new to XM. So I'm going to add notes, I'm going to add attributes, and then I'm going to hit OK. And you'll notice that if I slide this slide bar over, I have notes and attributes for my observations. Okay, there's one other thing. If you go to in stationing, if you right click and click on find, just one second. Point naming. Okay, if I right click and go to rename, they've changed this rename observations. It used to be rename side shot points. So if you see that that's changed, then it's just a name change, nothing else has changed in the product. I think that's it for my new things. So let's go back to the PowerPoint. Now what we're going to do is review insert parallel point command. And I'm going to go right back into my DGN file and just show you that one command, then we'll come back to the PowerPoint. Okay, this insert parallel point command, how you get to it is you go to Survey, Field Book, and this is the command right here. And what this command does is it will add a point on the back of curve. Or if you're missing a point, if you have parallel lines and your points are crossing, your lines are crossing each other, you can actually add a point in there with this command, and it makes it easier to do. I'm going to move this over here a little bit. And I'm going to window in on a couple points here that I've already put into this file. I'm going to turn on my names. I'm going to click on this View Names, turn on the names of my points. I'm going to move this dialog over here a little bit. I'm going to move my data here so you can see it. Okay. Now I'm going to click on Insert Parallel Point, and it says Select Reference Point from Reference Chain. This is my reference chain, and this is my reference point. And this is just a real simple example. We're going to go and actually do a real one on a curve in just a second. Then it says select reference point from target chain. This is my target chain here. And then it says select point to project. And this is my point I want to project. And what's going to happen is it's going to project this point on this line, and you'll see what happens. And notice that the distance between this point and this point is the same as the distance between this point and this point, and these lines are then parallel. So that's just a quick example. And then if I look at my field book, you'll see that point number 754 was added. So here's point 728, here's point 729, and right in the center between those 2 points, 754 was added. So I've got my back of curve space ST, and then that starts the line. Then I'm going to go through point 754 to point 729, and I've added that point. So let's actually do it now in the survey. So I'm going to window in on this little area here. And what I want to do is add this point, add a point to this line so that it's parallel with this line, with these points on this line. So let me go to 731. I'm going to go ahead and take out that PC and just make it a line. You don't have to do this, but I'm going to just to make it look better. Okay. And now what I'm going to do is use my insert parallel point command. I'm going to click on 731. It says select reference point from reference chain. Select reference point from target chain. And then select the point from the reference chain that you want to project onto. That other line is right here. And what I've done is I've placed this point the same distance as the distance between 731 and 736, and these lines are parallel. I'm going to add one more down here, pick point 733, 737, then project 734 over to that point. And as you see, this line is much more parallel than it was before. And if I added my PCs like we'll do in a minute, these lines will all be curves and parallel. So, so this is my curve, and this represents my gutter, and they look a lot better now than they did before. Okay. So let's go back to the PowerPoint slide. Now what we're going to do is discuss how survey control codes are used in the field book. And so I'm going to go back to my presentation, and go to my, I can collapse this field book and close this. I'm going to look at survey control codes. And so these are the different codes that you can use while you're surveying: the start, the close, the PC, the PT, DNC, RND. You can change these different codes to whatever you want. I'm not going to change these. And these are the alpha codes. These are the numeric codes that represent the same thing. I know that Leica uses numeric codes, but TDS, the RW5 files like we're using, use the alpha codes. So what we're gonna do is manipulate this data to show you how easy it is to edit the data in the field book. And I think that's one of the strongest points with the field book is it's very easy to manipulate the data. So let's go to the field book data, and let's just look at this curve that we just drew, and let's go to point 731. Now, even though I'm at the very start of this survey, I'm on the first point that I'm set up on, I can find this point in the field book very easily by just right-clicking in the observations part of the field book and hit find. Click find right here, and then for the point name, type in 731 and then click apply. And I get information in this box, and if I just click on the station, it takes me right to point 731 in the field book. That's really a nice little feature. So what I want to do now is find this point in my drawing. So I'm going to window area around a little spot here and see that, and I don't see any information in my on my screen, and I can go right click and then center, and what that does is it centers the information, and there's point 731 right there. So I'm set up to edit this point now, and what I'm going to do is double click this point and see the edit observation comes up. I can also right click and pick edit style or edit, and the same observation box comes up. Now if I take this ST off at this point, then hit apply, as you see there's another back a curve point somewhere, and it's drawn a line from the last ST in there. And let's go see what that is. Let me fit all and move this over here. So 730 was my last back a curve point in the field book. Let's look up here. Here's 730 right there. Okay, so what it's doing is and here's a start for back a curve. So it's going from point number 728, which is right here, and that's that point that we added that's the line we added the 754 to, and it's drawn a line all the way through to 730, and then it's drawn all the way up to that point I was just at. So let's but I don't want this line in there, So what I want to do is window area on this curve, find 731. I just double click, I add a ST there, and notice that there's no line between that that last point and then 731. Okay, now what I want to do is, these are lines and this is really a curve. So I want to add a curve on these for this curb and gutter. So I'm going to go to 731 and I'm just going to add one of the control codes. It's called PC, and what that does is start the curve. So I'm going to add a PC there. As you can see, there's a curve here. Now it looks kind of jagged to me, not very smooth, so I'm going to fix that by going to Tools, Survey Options, and General, and I'm going to add a 0 to my chord height right here and hit OK. You see, oh, that makes it a lot better. So I've got a real smooth curve now. Okay, so I'm going to go to point number 736 and do the same thing. So if I just right click here and put find point name 736, hit apply, click on the station, there's my 736. I can just double click that. I can add a PC there, click apply, and I've added a curve there. Let's go to the next one. So right click here, let's see what it is first. 739, so right click, find 739, apply, click on there, right click and edit, and I'll put PC there, hit apply, then close that. Now I have my curb and gutter, and it's got and it's actually a curve. But let's just say it's a curve to this point, and then it's a tangent the rest of the way. What we can do is put a PT in at this 734, 756, and 743. So so I want to go to 734. There it is right there. So I can just double click on that, enter PT, which is the survey code to stop the curve, hit apply. As you see, I've got a straight line there. Let's go to $756, which is right here. PT there. Go to 743. It's right there. Put a PT there. Okay. So you see how easy it is to edit the data. And these graphics are not written to the DGN file. They're temporary graphics so that you can write them anytime you want to the DGN file. But since they're not permanent graphics, the lines just move without you having to delete them. So anytime I want to write these to graphics, all I do is go to Survey, View Survey Data, Write Survey Data Graphics, and whatever I've done is written to the DGN file. And if I don't like it, I can always bring my field book back in, and all those graphics will show up. I can edit them and then use them. So I want to go through a few more of these codes just to show you how valuable this tool, the field book, is, and how easy it is to manipulate data. So we're going to delete this 754 point. This one we added earlier. So I can't find it. So what I'm going to do is just right click and find. Click on 754. Click apply and close. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't click on on the point. So click on 754, apply, and then click on the station, and then it goes to the point. So I'm going to just right click and delete that point and say yes, and there it's gone. And what I'm going to do now is draw a box there, and I have this point 728 and 729. And so let's look at our control codes again. Survey, control codes, and let's draw a rectangle. Okay, so I'm going to cancel out of here. RECT is my code to draw a rectangle. So I'm going to go to 728 and look at my field book. Okay, here's point number, I don't see it, so let's find it. There, let's see where it is. Find. Okay, there it is. And then go to 729, edit that point. I'm going to type in RECT and then 100 and hit apply. As you can see, it draws a rectangle in there. And this line is 100 feet. And I put a positive 100 in, so it goes to the right. 728 to 729 is the direction that goes to the right, and if it was to the left, it'd be 728, 729, and go to the left. Okay, so let's go back to my PowerPoint, and then let's go into the Style Manager. And I want to just go into there just for a minute and show you that, because it does affect the survey. And so back to the product. I'm going to go to Tools. Let's go to the field book first and just look at it. Survey, field book. And this is my control point. See all these codes? CP. Okay. And I can go into I can edit that style by going to Tools, Style Manager, picking on the control point. Well, here's a back a curve and edit it. And there's my BC. And then I would go to the survey feature, and this is where all your settings are. Okay, and my line, the line symbology I'm using is BC, and I can edit that. It takes it to the edit name symbology box, and I can edit the color, the line, the text, and the point. This is like for cells. This is the text, the height, the width, and the position of the text. So, okay, close that out. And here's my code, BC. Okay, or I can go back to the field book, and if I've got a code here, control point, right click, and then edit style, and it goes right into the edit style dialog box. And here's my survey feature. It goes right to survey and settings, and I can click on draw line to previous code, or change any of my, I can add codes to here, and that's an easier way to get to the Style Manager. Okay, go back to my PowerPoint. Now we're going to adjust some survey data. So I'm going to go back to my presentation, go back to my DGN file, and I'm going to delete this information out and then bring in a new, some new data. So I'm going to go to Survey, delete survey data, delete my field book, and I don't want to save those changes, and I want to do a fit all here. Okay, I don't have anything in this file, so I'm now I'm going to bring in a different XIN file. To do that, I go to File, Open. I'm going to go to case N, N1, and here's an XIN file I made just for this traverse. Open, cancel, And I can check that right here by right-clicking in the Preferences, and I just hold my cursor over this so you can see n1.xin is my active xin file. Then I go to File, Open, and N1 is my field book. I open that up, cancel. I want to see what data I have in here, so I go to Survey Field Book, and as you can see, I've got a traverse in here. These are my setups where I set my instrument up and backsided and turned them. So let's go ahead. I've got data in. Let's look at my network. So I need to go to Network Symbology, turn on. Well, you can actually click that, or you can go to Preferences, and I set up a preference called Jeff, and load that, and it loads up the information that you had entered in before. And then close, and then go to Survey, View Survey Data, Network. Remember, turn on your network, and there it is. So now what I want to do is do a little adjustment on this survey. This is the data that just came in, and I'm going to go to Network. And this is where you adjust your surveys. But I have no data in here, neither in this box or this box. The way you bring your data in is through this box right here, Import from Fieldbook. So I click on Import from Fieldbook, and I want to include foresight observations to backside point. Say yes. And I've got data in either one of these boxes. Now I'm just going to go through this dialog box a little bit. You can import data from an ASCII2 file, and what that is a text file, and you can just bring data from the text file right into this network box. You can export data to a text file. You can route this data to geometry. I'll go ahead and do that. This traverse hasn't been adjusted yet, but I'm going to go ahead and route this data anyway. Okay. See, it says this command is unavailable because there is no active geometry project. I said okay, and I'll go ahead and create a geometry project. File, New, Geometry, call it Jeff. Apply, close. Now if I go here, route to geometry, I'll call my name Jeff, hit OK. If I go to geometry and select active geometry, you'll see I have an alignment called Jeff. Alright. Now this generate approximate coordinates. If you do a survey and you just use angles without distances, when you bring the data into the survey field book, you won't get any coordinates. And what this will do is will calculate those coordinates and enter them into this network dialog box. Level adjustments, you can do those. We're going to go into this box, this traverse adjustments, in just a minute. Least squares adjustments. If you were doing least squares adjustments, you would click on this box, and that's where you would do that. And then network to field book. What you do with network to field book is after you adjust it, the data in your field book isn't adjusted. So what you want to do is move that data, that adjusted data, to the field book, and you'll see, like we talked about before, the C will be in the little box showing that it was an adjusted point. This is your reports, and this is your network symbology. So what I'm going to do now is go to Traverse Adjustment, and I'm going to do a compass adjust, but you can do a crandall or a transit, and I'm going to do a compass adjust, and I'm not going to adjust my elevations or reciprocal zeniths. I'm just going to click adjust, and it's adjusted. Then I have to click, I can look at the report by just clicking on report, and there's my traverse report, and it shows me that I did a compass adjust. It's closed, 7 points, 2 fixed, 5 free. Okay, and then all the rest of your data. I'm going to get out of that. You can save that by going to File, Save As. I'm not going to do that right now. And I'm going to click Accept. Okay. Now my um, my traverse has been adjusted. So what do? Well, I want to move it to the field book. So I go here and network to field book, and I just click on this button. And what I just did was move that adjusted data to the field book. So let's go out here to Survey, Field Book Data, and let's look at the data. This point 201 was a fixed and edited point. 102 is a fixed and edited point. Point 103 is a fixed, edited, and this C means that it's an adjusted point. So how do I know that C means adjusted? Well, after the first time you'll know, but if you don't, you can go right to Help by clicking F1, and there's your field book, and you can go down here to information, and you'll see the data. Here's N is the point has notes, E the point has been edited, and down at the bottom C it's an adjusted point. So all I did was I highlighted the top bar in this dialog box, hit F1, and then I'm at the field book. Or you can type in status into this bar, list topics. So go to field book, display it. Okay, and there's my field book. And then if you go to contents, you'll see that you know, all of this information is in order. Here's survey, and here's field book, and you can look at all of the data in there. The help seems to be very helpful these days. So back to my PowerPoint. So I did a compass rule adjust, but you can see by the dialog box that you could do a Crandall or a transit with the same command, and we looked at the other icons on the network dialog box. In conclusion, we have used a simple InRoads Survey XM Edition workflow to import survey data and then write the different survey data to graphics. We have also taken a more advanced look at editing the survey data using survey control codes in the field book. We then adjusted a traverse using different survey adjustments and sent the adjusted data back to the field book. This concludes the presentation for InRoads Survey XM Edition introduction.